Hello, members of the Korean Language Association. I was meaning to give this talk. Well, I did give this talk actually a week and a half ago at Kook University. Actually, it was a virtual presentation. I think the recording might not have been properly set, so we're going to try this again. So I'm re-recording this for all of you and for others that might want to watch this as well. This particular session is on innovative AI pedagogy in the English language classroom, including at the end some initial ideas regarding assessment related to AI and English language instruction. So I think all of you are knee-deep in thinking this summer about how to utilize or better utilize generative AI technology, resources, tools, and practices in your classrooms next year, maybe this coming fall. If you are, maybe this talk will have some ideas that you could try out. Don't try every one of them, maybe just try a couple of them. Before I get to some pedagogical ideas, I want to give some data that's happening out there and presented in general what's going on in the wonderful world of AI in education. We all can all say AI, 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 over and over and over again. I've been dabbling in the area of pedagogy with online learning, well, more than dabbling, for a couple of decades now. And I have a free book called Adding Tech Variety, which I'll point out to later on, and you can download it as well. I have a couple free books off my homepage, curtbonk.com. You can send me an email at cjbonk@iu.edu if you want to ask any questions. Finally, if you'd like the slides for this particular presentation, they are up at TrainingShare, one word, TrainingShare.com under Archive Talks. All the talks I've given over the past couple decades are there, including 7 or 5, 6, 7 I gave in Korea the last couple of weeks. Also ones in Thailand and Taiwan I gave last month. So let's go to the show here. Again, thank you all for taking a look at this particular session. I appreciate your time. Hopefully you'll get something that you can use from this session. I'm going to share my sound. I'm going to share my video. And so we've got this, so you can actually hear this recording. All right. So as I said, this particular recording is innovative AI pedagogy in English language classrooms and initial ideas regarding assessment. Again, my homepage is there, my email is there. Feel free to contact me. On the right-hand side is my framework called Read, Reflect, Display, and Do, or R2D2. I'll walk you through that. On the left side is the Tech Variety Framework, which stands for 10 motivational principles. I'll be walking you through that as well. The one on the left has a free associated book with it. Actually, 2 books now, because a new one came out a couple of years ago, an update and a thinner book. You know, if you're in the teaching and learning world, especially in higher education, you need to become more connected. Evidently, according to what the articles are telling us today, we need to be more aware of AI possibilities, AI uses, AI implications, AI ethics, AI copyright. There's a lot of issues and strands to this AI revolution of sorts. It's not one-dimensional in nature. And if I asked you this question, how often have you used AI during the past week, day, hour, minutes? I mean, everyone would give an answer that would be different, but yet I'm sure that you've at least dabbled in this field once or twice. I hope by the end of this session, you'll be more comfortable in utilizing AI more readily and more confidently in your classrooms. Again, AI, 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 AI. Universities are somewhat caught off guard by this because they didn't realize it was all of a sudden going to happen with ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Copilot from Microsoft, Perplexity, and other technologies that are coming at us one by one, whether it's Claude or whether it's ChatPDF or ChatGPT. And now universities are struggling to race to find personnel that can lead the efforts in incorporating, integrating effectively AI in education. I want to go through some of my research before I get to pedagogy, though, because I think it might be of interest to those of you who are in the Korean Language Association. I've been interviewing YouTubers who teach languages online using Gen AI, and they use Gen AI technologies also to self-direct their own learning. It's been fascinating study to interview and survey these people and look at the contents that they've created. We've got my team has 4 publications related to this effort, as well as 2 on Duolingo, as well as 1 on AI as a writing tool, as well as 1 now we just got accepted on teacher self-directed learning using generative AI technologies. And we have got other ones as well. Write to me, and I'm happy to share those articles with you. We've interviewed people like Lucas and Fabricio here who know more than 14 languages, including Norwegian, Dutch, German, Serbian, Ukrainian. Gen AI had helped them to learn all these languages, and now they've started their own language entity or company called Language Boost. They're originally from Brazil, now living in Europe somewhere. Again, these are people we interviewed to find out what it's like to utilize generative AI to teach languages online. And they might be using simple things like having Gen AI technology create dictionaries and definitions and practice tests and quizzes and explaining the meaning of a word in a context or correcting simple grammar and spelling mistakes. There's assorted ways and reasons you might utilize Gen AI in your language learning classrooms and in other classrooms as well. This is my team. We were led by Belle Lee, my former master's student, who's now a doctoral student at Purdue University, as well as Xiaojing Ko, the director of our Center for Language Technology at IU, Indiana University, and Sharon Wong, who's a graduate of Indiana. The 4 of us have been interviewing these YouTubers out there and doing other studies as well. We've just, in fact, got a paper accepted in System, which is talking about the development of a scale looking at student self-directed learning in online language learning environments. Here are the people that we interviewed for our survey, for our surveys, for our researches related to YouTubers teaching languages online. They use their real names because they want to be known, actually. They're teaching Portuguese and Spanish and German and Chinese and all sorts of languages and having a lot of fun doing it. Many are polyglots. Many are very actively learning languages on their own as they're teaching languages. It's a fascinating group and a fascinating time to do research on such people. They're seeing language skills can be enhanced by ChatGPT, including listening skills and reading and writing and grammar. They're seeing the benefits of ChatGPT and other generative AI technologies in terms of building learner self-confidence, giving prompt feedback, personalizing the learning environment, and all sorts of things in that teaching and learning setting. So we're seeing them utilize these technologies so that students can be more confident and more self-efficacious, as well as reflective on their learning journey, on their successes. They're finding different strategies being employed to personalize the learning environment using generative AI technologies. They might use AI to scaffold the learning, to support the learning or facilitate it some ways. They might use the generative AI technologies in a paired activity as well as an individual activity or a large group activity. They might use it to provide explicit instruction or tutorials for students. But some instructors are very focused today on student assessment and ethical issues as well. There are a number of reasons and ways in which one's using generative AI technologies, for the most part, in a very positive way, using Gen AI in terms of teaching and instruction, because it is powerful, it is fascinating, it is surprising, it is fast, it is efficient, it is fluid, it is somewhat accurate, but it makes mistakes. It is limited. There are many drawbacks of using AI technologies as well. Benefits include, providing vocabulary support and test preparation and translations and annotations. Um, it provides a number of things that one might utilize in their environments. So I think that we have to start thinking about how are you going to use it? Are you going to use it for language conversation, which is increasingly possible? Are you going to use it to provide tutorials and tutorial related support for students that are accessible and affordable? Are you going to use it for students just study support and study aids and so forth? But there are drawbacks in terms of bias and incomplete information, limited creativity, and other kinds of things. The lack of emotional support and empathy and potential misuse of these technologies. So we have to start thinking about how can we effectively utilize these technologies in our instruction. There are many examples out there, many research articles now to read about language learning with Gen AI technologies. And so how do we ramp up? How do we become familiar and effective in the use of generative AI for our instruction? I'll go back to my slides here. Um, there we go. And I'm going to go back to the slides here. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay. So there are a number of concerns. Data privacy, of course, is a big concern. Challenging teachers as well as organizations to detect plagiarism. That's a huge issue. The replacement of human workers today is a big issue as well. There's concerns that AI will be another failed educational technology in the classroom, along with record players and radio and other kinds of things. Again, I've done research on writing and AI-assisted types of writing. We got this published last year in the Online Learning Journal, exploring the utility of ChatGPT and for self-directed online learning. And we asked learners about motivation related to the use of ChatGPT and enjoyment, and whether they have deeper understanding of the writing process as a result of using ChatGPT. So I enjoyed learning new information. 4.21 on a scale of 1 to 5 was the highest rated. So students were enjoying it. They were motivated to use ChatGPT. In the survey, we had of 276 students and 11 interviews. When we asked about the frequency of ChatGPT in online learning, how often do you use it for language learning? You can see the numbers there, 10% daily, weekly, 49% monthly, 23%. There's a number of people out there who are using it quite a bit, actually. When we asked learners about, study plans, creating a study plan with Gen AI, and particular, I carry out my own study plan when using ChatGPT to learn a language. We see that 70, 80, nearly 80% either agree or somewhat agree. When we ask them, do you direct your own language learning progress while using ChatGPT? Again, a huge amount, nearly 90% strongly agree or somewhat agree with that statement. So students are, on the whole, agreeing that ChatGPT can help them learn languages, can help them create a study plan to learn languages, and so forth. In another study that we have published with 384 survey respondents and 10 interviews, also published last year, in Computers in Education Artificial Intelligence, the study was Understanding Self-Directed Learning and AI-Assisted Writing among post-secondary learners. And here are the people that we interviewed down below. You can see they're learning Spanish and French and Brazilian, Portuguese, and so forth. In terms of frequency of using ChatGPT for writing, the majority were using it weekly or monthly. Some were using it daily. When we asked them questions like, I use ChatGPT to help brainstorm, 4.23 on a scale of 1 to 5. So huge amount of, the majority of them are using it to brainstorm, to outline papers, to translate ideas, to improve their wording, to change their sentence structure, to make new connections, and so forth. Okay, improve their writing ideas. When we ask them about issues related to motivation, you can see the score here, 3.85. I have motivation to learn writing with ChatGPT. I have a need to learn writing from ChatGPT, not quite as high. I enjoy learning new information related to writing, almost a 4 on a scale of 1 to 5. So again, you can see very positive feedback from the students. I carry out a study plan with using ChatGPT to learn English writing, 3.77. I manage my time. So we're asking motivation questions, self-monitoring questions, and self-management questions, because these are the keys to student self-directed learning: self-management, self-monitoring, and motivation. According to my friend Randy Garrison, this is his model. He's at the University of Calgary. When we ask them, I manage my time well while using ChatGPT to assist my English writing, most agreed with that, 4.03. I can direct my own English writing progress, 4.08, while using ChatGPT. I review the writing materials provided by ChatGPT, 4.0. I'm responsible for my own learning when writing with ChatGPT, 4.33. So they're taking responsibility for using it. When we ask them about the overall impact of ChatGPT on their writing or other generative AI tools, you can see it's probably the largest percentage here in terms of very positive, 41%, somewhat positive, 51%. So we're talking about a huge amount here, over 90%. When we ask them a question about student perceptions of ChatGPT on their writing development, I improve my English writing through ChatGPT. Again, over 70%, about 74%, 73, 74. I find ChatGPT a helpful writing tool. Here, 93% either somewhat agree or strongly agree that ChatGPT is a helpful writing tool. I guess that's the one theme that comes from this beginning part of the presentation. Students find that ChatGPT and other generative AI tools can help with their writing and English language learning. Now, when we ask teachers, and we got this published in Tech Trends, this is actually an article that just got published yesterday online first, and then in January 2026, it'll come out in print. When we asked teachers, and we had 298 surveys and 5 interviews and a lot of documents we analyzed. When we asked teachers about use of ChatGPT to self-direct their own learning, and what they used ChatGPT for, well, to get inspired, to create learning materials, to create PowerPoint slides, 20% almost, to generate practice quizzes, 18% nearly, to generate customized content, 16%, to provide explanations or clarifications on subjects, 12%, to encourage critical thinking and problem solving, 7%, to help special needs students, about 7%, to offer writing assistance or feedback, about 7%. So there's a variety of uses. Facilitating translation, 6%. So you can see students are using these tools and faculty members are using these tools. As we ask these teachers about their use of ChatGPT, their motivation, you can see the largest, highest rated item here is I enjoy learning new information related to teaching through ChatGPT, almost a 4 on a scale of 1 to 5. Also almost a 4, I want to learn new ideas related to teaching brought up by ChatGPT. 3.87, I have the motivation to use ChatGPT to improve my teaching practice. I share my ChatGPT teaching experiences with others. And you can read some of the other ones. ChatGPT helps me learn from my mistakes and improve my teaching, 3.32. In terms of self-management of these teachers' learning, the highest rated item, I manage my time well while using ChatGPT to improve teaching. Almost a 5, 4.81. So they're becoming better time managers from the use of ChatGPT. They're organized. I am organized while improving teaching with ChatGPT 4.7, learning ways to improve teaching that they can apply in the classroom with a variety of strategies 4.65. They have high expectations for teaching performance while using ChatGPT. They seek assistance when facing problems using ChatGPT 3.95. So these are some, they create their own professional development plans. They create their professional development goals. So there are a number of reasons, there are a number of implications and outcomes for the use of ChatGPT for teachers as well as for students. Again, this is just some of our data here. In terms of self-monitoring their learning, the highest rated item was I'm responsible for learning with ChatGPT for improving my teaching. The second most highest rated, I have high learning standards when using ChatGPT 4.04. I can direct my language learning process while using ChatGPT to improve my teaching. So you can see, what I am not distracted by other tools out there like Facebook and WhatsApp when using ChatGPT. 3.52 agreed with that, and so forth. We have another article that's in press exploring ethical issues in the use of AI in self-directed and formal types of learning. And the issues that were brought up during the interviews with these people include the fear of plagiarism or worries about fairness that AI might cause in terms of some students using it and others not. The ethics standards might vary by subject to subject matter area. And they're also concerned about what are the institutional policies, what are the instructors' attitudes. There are a range of issues that come up when we talk about ethics. And that's why it's a difficult topic to pin down because there are so many different ramifications. There's personal ethics, there's ethics guidelines or policies that the institution or organization, the school or the university or the government setting might create. Another recent study, not mine, that I discovered in eCampus News a couple of weeks ago, was surveying academic administrators, educators, and students in higher education. And they were asking whether or not AI is currently being misused in their college, university, or institutions. The students were most in agreement and found that students were producing entire pieces of work. They see their friends plagiarizing, whereas the administrators were the least concerned and educators falling in the middle, which is kind of ironic that this is the students who are concerned about plagiarism issues. And they asked another question. They asked whether or not they're worried about the use of AI within education. And the ones who are most worried again are the students at 64%, the educators at 50%, and administrators 41%. You know, it says part of this unease may be due to the lack of guidance that educators have, which hinders their ability to deploy AI in a beneficial way for students and the academic setting more broadly. When we interviewed people about ethics, most of these, actually, I think all of the people we interviewed were concerned. The students were concerned. You know, here the quote is, my brother is at an undergraduate institution where there's cases brought about plagiarism. And that kind of scared me when I heard about what's happening there. I've seen people use it and try to say, well, you can correct a few mistakes, this or that, and people will use it. People will keep using it. There's going to be tools, just catch little things. Maybe that might be okay and not write the whole paper. Another student, Danielle, said, so the first student's name was Elliot. The second student, Danielle, said, actually, I was kind of adverse to the idea of ever touching it until my professor had us do it because I'm like, I don't even want to be accused remotely of using this thing for cheating. I don't want to be anywhere near it. So I was a little bit nervous. And I was sort of like, oh, okay. So it's just if you don't use it to cheat, it's not cheating. That makes sense. And then I was sort of open-minded to it. So the professor's trying to get them to use it in alternative ways to springboard ideas potentially maybe, or something else. In terms of faculty use of Gen AI technologies, a study by EDUCAUSE earlier this year looked at faculty primarily using it for things like brainstorming and getting new ideas to help with work challenges, summarizing content. Number two. Number three, writing email, which I have not done. Maybe you have. Raise your hands if you've done it for, no, don't raise your hands. I can't see you. This is a recording. Creating meeting notes, potentially, writing and creating presentations and slides like this one. Now, I've not done it per se. I've seen it, people using it to create slides. I'll probably do it in the future. I've not done it yet. Developing project plans, creating teaching materials, lecture notes, those kinds of things. Student side, again, brainstorming ideas, getting ideas naturally, and, helping with schoolwork, creating images and pictures. We see with DALL-E and other image generation technologies, Sora in terms of video creation that's coming. Making music, we see Udio, and I'll show that in a little bit as one tool to create music. Sono being SONO being another one. So making music, making sounds, helping in their job. Writing computer code is a common one that we hear about. So many of us talk about the use of AI and Gen AI in particular as an augmentative tool, as a support tool, as a helping tool, as a learning aid, as a scaffolding device, not as a replacement for thinking. Now, there's a recent study, I think at MIT or somewhere else, we're looking at students, their nodes, they're looking at their cognitive engagement, and found that students who were relying on Gen AI to write their papers and do their work were less engaged cognitively and actually learned the material quite less than the others who weren't utilizing Gen AI technologies. Now, this is a preprint before the article is actually coming out because the authors were concerned it's going to take too long for the research to appear and get in print. And I concur with them because I've got several papers that got accepted and it takes like 3 years to come out in print. But anyways, people are using it as a learning aid, as an exploratory tool, as part of a writing assignment, and only 5% were using to write the full assignment. Or so they said. We don't know. Is AI enhancing education or replacing it? Big question. The Chronicle of Higher Education has had a number of good articles, great articles to read, including this one by Clay Shirky, well known at New York University. I'd recommend it. Now, if you download my slides, you get the links to all these articles. Beth McMurtry, AI to the Rescue. It's an all-purpose tool that can be used to change relationships between teachers and students, between students and peers. What she says and what is clear is that, students, just like older adults, have conflicting feelings about the use of these technologies. They know it can produce unreliable information. They fear that, they're going to bomb their next assignment potentially, maybe because they relied on it too much. What's clear from interviews that they had and surveys that they've conducted with more than 100 students is that common for students to treat AI as a one-stop shop. They get their articles, they do the research with AI, they get AI to summarize the articles, create the study guides and lesson and study aids potentially, brainstorm ideas for their papers, do the spelling and grammar check at the end and look for the weak points in the thinking. But Beth McMurtry also says in this article is that this generative AI use is layered on top of what's already happening and what's been happening for decades. Students have been using Google to search for information for a long time instead of going to the library. They've been using YouTube to explain content and explore and explanatory video creation. They've been using TikTok for quick explainers as well. Quizlet to self-test themselves, and teachers to create digital flashcards. Grammarly to, improve and make their writing more precise and professional. There's many tools that students are using. This is among the others, or another one of them, but it's bigger than all the rest, I think. A theme, she says, running through student commentaries is they describe AI use was as an augmentative aid, as a tutor, and so forth. Now, The K-12 level, the school level, there are a number of technologies being used there as well, whether it's using Duolingo to learn languages or help support the learning of French or Spanish in high school. Again, I've got two studies of Duolingo that have been published. I'm more than happy to send them to any of you. Whether they're using Conmigo, which it comes from the Khan Academy, teaching kids chemistry, biology, Spanish, math, whatever subject area, it can provide student support and providing hints and aids and questions, or using AI to develop, to create something, to create knowledge, such as Canva, Magic Studio, or to assist in accessing content that wasn't necessarily accessible previously, like using Speechify for people who need to hear it, that they can't see it. They're visually impaired. An article, this article, how can higher education adapt to the challenges of AI? So this is January of 2025. In June was the previous article. So January 30th, a few months earlier, she was summarizing an article that had come out of 330 university presidents and chancellors and senior leaders. Only 43% of college leaders said their institution was effectively ready to use Gen AI and prepared. The same percentage responded positively when they asked if they were preparing faculty. Really? Are they? You'll see some more data where they maybe not. When asked about the challenges of adapting AI in courses, 93% cited faculty unfamiliarity with Gen AI. That's a big challenge. Just don't know. Faculty aren't aware. 84% said lack of training and support. Aha, lack of training and support. Here's the survey that had come out, and here's the data. 80% of faculty feel like there's a lack of clarity on how AI can be applied in teaching within their institutions. Only 6% think that their institution has clearly outlined how AI can be used in teaching. 6%. 83% are concerned about students' critical thinking skills, critical evaluation skills, as a result of over-reliance on ChatGPT and other technologies, which is causing professors to sit back and say, am I just grading all these papers and having a good old time? Or am I grading stuff developed by robots? And why should I even bother doing that? Another article from Beth McMurtry at the Chronicle of Higher Education from last summer. Again, there's a new article that's a preprint has come out showcasing how students are utilizing ChatGPT and other technologies too much. And the study had students utilizing AI or not utilizing it, or utilizing it in a blended fashion or minimalist. The group that wrote essays using ChatGPT all delivered similar essays lacking original thought, relying on the same ideas and expressions. The English teachers in the classroom called their writing soulless. The EEGs on their brains revealed low executive control and attention, very low engagement. The third essay written, by the third essay, many of these writers just gave up, simply gave the prompt to ChatGPT and had them do all the work. It's more like, just give me the essay and I'll be done with it. I'll be done. Basically giving up on their learning, right? The death of student writing. This is happening, or is it? Can we change that? How can we effectively utilize AI in the classrooms to help students, annotate texts, to get definitions of words, thesauruses, perhaps translations, identifying mistakes in their language, and providing corrective forms of examples and feedback. The benefits of AI, according to an article by James Daniels that just came out, include increasing the readability of their work, the grammar and spelling, of course, helping with organizing the content in a more effective, time-efficient way. generating ideas. Limitations, again, soulless, lacking originality, lacking creativity, lacking emotions, lacking, engagement of others in one's writing, fact checking, and misinterpreting the existing databases. Gen AI makes errors. And how can students identify where the errors are so they don't stumble into incorrect text? Now, there are a couple of books on effective uses of Gen AI that came out within a year of Gen AI being announced. Gen AI, ChatGPT, actually, I should say, was announced in November 2022. And by 2023 November, there's a new book that came out called Text Gen Ed, An Introduction to Teaching with Text Generation Technologies from the Colorado State Repository. There are many great articles and assignments and examples in here, and again, it's a free book, but some of the ideas are a bit dense and only applicable to the discipline in which they were created. It's hard to generalize the physics examples to an English classroom and vice versa. But it's a good book. It's free. Another book I'll recommend a bit higher, which also came out in 2023, within a year of ChatGPT being announced and useful, is this book from the UK, 101 Creative Ideas to Use AI in the Classroom. You see idea number 55 on empowering student-led discussions with ChatGPT generated prompts. They'll have the author name, their organization, their email contact if you want to follow up, if you download this set of 101 ideas, and there are some great ideas in this book. And I think it's continually updated, mostly from the UK, but from other places as well. I will put this on my highly recommended list for all of you. You can also take a look at Harvard. Harvard. You go to Harvard. Harvard's MetaLab, looking at their AI pedagogy project, which has an assembly of courses that are put up in there that talk about how faculty are utilizing Gen AI in their classrooms. And they have a list of objectives and skills that they're addressing. If you want to focus on critical thinking or evaluation skills, you can find courses that have that. If you want to focus on looking at ethics, there are courses that have that. So, this is a very easy to use database, very accessible, and it's free as well. So this also has the Bonk seal of approval. This book too, Teaching with AI, A Practical Guide to a New Era of Human Learning by Jose Antonio Bowen and Edward Watson, came out in 2024. And I found the ideas in this book to be rather useful. And so you'll see in this presentation ideas from all three of those books, in particular the last two books that were mentioned. So just as the internet changed our relationship to knowledge, AI is going to change our relationship to thinking. Is it going to do our thinking for us or with us? Is it going to be a supplement, a symbiotic twin, a co-partner, or is it going to trudge through and do the work for us? Also look at a free language technology magazine that's available on the internet from the International Association for Language Learning Technology, AIALLT. I found many ideas at this website, in particular for middle school and high school settings, not so much for university or college settings, but there are some. So again, another free resource, and yet another listing of 25 ways to use AI technologies from Charles Darwin University, whether it's marking student essays, which I have not done. Raise your hands if you've used it. I don't know if you used it. I won't ask. Or developing rubrics, sparking debates. I can see the use of it for both of those, sparking debates, as well as developing rubrics, as well as developing quiz questions, alternative lesson plans. YouTube summaries, notes for tutorials, discussion prompts. I've used it for that. So there are a number of ways. I like this list by Seb Dianati and Suman Ladari. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. You can go to, many resources on the web will give you ideas, advice, caveats for AI in education, including the use of AI tools for help with writing practice. Students can write paragraphs or essays and receive feedback on their writing from ChatGPT to improve their writing skills, coherence, cohesion, vocabulary, reading comprehension exercises and explanations, conversation practice, grammar, and so forth, pronunciation, phonetic transcriptions, explanations, pronunciation rules, cultural context, looking at idioms and colloquialisms and customs and different particular expressions for a culture or region of the world. Personalized learning environments. There are a lot of ways in which we use technology, AI technologies. Now, I wrote this book, Adding Tech Variety, 101 Activities for Motivating and Retaining Learners Online before AI. I then followed that up. So that came out in 2014. Hundreds of thousands of people around the world have downloaded in Chinese and in English, mostly English. And then in 2022, I have a new version with a free class called Motivating and Supporting Learners Online. You can click the link there for the first book, the green book. If you want the one on the right, just go to my homepage. It's there for you. Or you can go to this page and just click here. My colleague Elaine Coe on the left from Massey University in New Zealand and I created the shorter, newer, improved book and free class where you can get ideas for all 10 of the principles of the Tech Variety model. Tone, encouragement, curiosity, variety, autonomy, relevance, interactivity, engagement, tension, and yielding products. All 10 of them are up on this site. And so, it's an amazing, amazing time in which to experiment with our classroom instruction. Now, I hope all of you can download the book, maybe share the book with your friends, maybe take, I tell people just open any page and you'll find an idea. After the first 2 chapters, and not the last 2 chapters, but in the middle, you can open any page. And hopefully, you get 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 ideas that you can use in your classrooms, maybe experiment a bit, maybe share with others. I'm going to go back to my slides here. This took a while. I mean, I had the idea for the Tech Variety book in 2000 or 2001. It wasn't until 2014 the book came out. So it took a while. So I'm happy to give it away. I told people in the Philippines I was going to give my next book away free to the world because my publisher was kind of ripping people off sometimes or all the time. And so that's why it's free. And again, both books are free, as well as a third book on the research around online learning. You can find all of them on my homepage, curtbonk.com. Okay, so one idea is to develop icebreaking activities, have Gen AI help you with development of icebreaking and team building activities, rapport building activities, whether it's question asking or different kinds of activities they might engage in. Now, there's a book called 80 Ways to Use ChatGPT in the Classroom. It's a thin book. I've got the book. I'm not going to recommend it. I'm not going to say don't buy it. You'll get ideas from it, but I like those other ones better. It's okay book, but I definitely like the other ones better. Again, in reaction to the fast emergence of Gen AI, many people were writing books on the fly and making them available as self-published vehicles in Amazon that didn't go through the proper vetting process. Now, I'm not positive this happened here, but I didn't see a publisher. I saw that he self-published this. You might use Gen AI technologies as a conversational agent, such as the tool HeyPI, where you can have conversations about your health or weather or family visits like I had here. And he was giving me feedback to my daughter coming to visit. HeyPI, I told my daughter's flying in from Vegas or just flew in. Oh, wow, that's a bit of a flight, but totally worth it to spend time with family, right? Did they stay with you or in a hotel? With me? Oh, even better. Spending lots of quality time together sounds like a lovely visit. How long do they stay with you? 2 nights. Oh, such a lovely time, 2 nights. Long enough to catch up and have quality time, but not quite so long that you're sick of each other by the end. Did you all do anything fun together? So, these types of tools are going to increasingly find their way into classrooms for psychosocial emotional support, possibly even some version of empathy, some low level empathy. So, in terms of number one, climate, psychological safety, belongingness, ice breaking kinds of thing, activities, you know, just some general support structures that you might embed in your classes. In terms of encouragement or feedback, you might have Gen AI help you generate feedback in the form of a poem or in the form of a visual cue of feedback, like a hawk or an eagle flying in the sky when students do well, right? Not a dragon when they don't do well. But okay, so this comes from the 101 Ideas book. This does as well. This is idea number one, generating feedback via poetry. And I like this idea. So you dump all your feedback you hand wrote in or you typed in, and you have ChatGPT create a poem out of it, or a song out of it, or a story out of it, or anything else. There's all sorts of ways in which one might use it to develop different forms of text vehicles as well as visual forms, creating a visual of their work, maybe some kind of overarching kind of visual cue. Exam preparation, tailored study schedules, using Quizlet, which now has a AI tool in it. Quizlet's the largest testing engine free in the world. It now has QChat for AI-based quiz generation and feedback. And students might use AI to create those study plans and summarize key points and to review their notes and generate feedback. Some instructors, like this gentleman, are using Gen AI to translate work. His students learning English in Johannesburg are kind of scared of their command of the English language. So he encourages them to use ChatGPT to assist in their translation and improve their writing and practice conversations and so forth. So the teachers set the policy in this case for what's allowable and what's not allowable. You might have technology, you might use AI technology, should say, to translate text into other languages. So if one's learning Chinese, you might take an English expression like, can you explain dyslexia in Chinese? And you get immediate text in Chinese. Or can you adjust the complexity of a dialogue to something more suitable to a beginner learner or a more advanced kind of learner? Or maybe have AI assume a persona. You are now Napoleon, okay? And I want you to respond as if you're Napoleon Bonaparte. Oh, hi, Napoleon. Can you tell me a bit about the French Revolution? And he responds, or ChatGPT responds, or Claude or Gemini. Of course I can. I still remember it like it was yesterday. Would you like the original origins of the French Revolutions, the multi-pronged aspects of it, or the brief overview? I said, give me the brief overview. So you can do this in a myriad types of ways in your classroom. So number three is curiosity. Okay. Number two is encouragement and feedback. So curiosity. When I was in Korea last week and the week before, I had this current idea in the news, article from the news. They're being covered by love bugs in Korea right now, hiking trails and on the sidewalks. You can take current news and have Gen AI develop summaries of it. You can have it develop questions around current news. You can have it create comparisons and contrasts of two different articles about the same topic. You could have it create study prompts. So you could have it create discussion prompts. You could have it create debate topics about this current current article in the news. You could generate fictional stories. You could have it extend what the article was about and create fiction around it. Variety and novelty. Having students who are learning languages describe what they see in an image created by DALL-E or some other technology. And when you have the same image being enhanced with other items being added to it, students can then add to the story that they've developed. Variety, novelty, fun, and fantasy. Pretend you're a first-year university student from Hanyang University in Korea. I'll ask you a series of questions in maybe their first year English student. I'll ask you a series of questions in English, and I'd like for you to respond as if you were human. Okay. So here you've got a study buddy or a bot agent helping you learn a language. Let's pretend you're a tour company in Johannesburg, South Africa, called Johannesburg Tours. I will pretend to be your tourist. I will ask you a series of questions in whatever language they're trying to learn. Let's say it's English, or maybe it's Swahili or something else. I'd like you to respond as if you were human. So ChatGPT or ChatPDF, which I like, ChatPDF, as a conversational partner. Now here's another book, ChatGPT for Teachers, AI in the Classroom. Harnessing the power of ChatGPT for effective teaching. Again, I'm not going to recommend this book. If you want to buy the book, it's a really thin book, I'll go ahead. It's for K-12 teaching in particular. I got one idea from this book. You'll probably get more than I did, but I was not as impressed as I was with the other ones that I recommended earlier. So, excuse me. Of course, I got something stuck down my throat. I want to keep you awake. Gamify your courses. Turn your activity and have ChatGPT help you turn your activity into a fun game, into a quiz, into a treasure hunt, or Jeopardy activity or something else. Gamify your learning content. And these tools can help you gamify learning content in a rather quick way. And you might, modify what they produce, creating trivia quizzes and so forth. You can also have students reflecting on podcast shows about AI. Now, I have a podcast show called Silver Lining for Learning, and we just had episode 239 today. We've been going this is our 6th year, 6th season, and we've had many shows on AI and other topics, including penguin research, including massive open online courses, including instructional design. But we've had a number of sessions on, AI for therapy robots in nursing homes and so forth. You could have your students reflect on these AI podcast shows that we've had at Silver Lining for Learning, or other podcast shows as well. You can give your students choice. This student's learning from MIT OpenCourseWare. Now, MIT put all their courses on the web. So here we've got our podcasts are all on the web. They're free and they're made available and so forth. MIT has gone a step further in putting all their courses online, including many on AI literacy and on machine learning and ethics of AI and so forth. And you could have your students pick and choose one of those courses to explore and write a review of, or write a reflection paper on, or maybe have suggested additions and so forth. Autonomy and choice is principle number 5 of the tech variety model. How I give my students flexibility and choice using AI is I have one discussion every week for my classes where they have to use Gen AI to start the discussion. I have another discussion thread that doesn't use it. It's only human to human. So I have a human to human discussion and an AI augmented discussion, and students decide which one to go in and enter. I think that works rather well. I highly recommend this if you're using discussion groups. What I find though, that AI is kind of flat. It just lists things. It's not that exciting, but it's there, and students get excited about the speed and the content that's developed rather quickly. This person on the right there at the top is using at Texas A&M University in the English department. Grace Hennix is using ChatGPT to have students write job applications and cover letters and resumes and that kind of thing, and study skill prompts and so forth. Now that's way to make it be, learning be more relevant and meaningful. Have job support and resume support, or have ChatGPT create questions for guests. Now, the woman there, my former student, Ana Paula Carrera, was a guest in my class last year, and I could have ChatGPT develop questions for her. Or the gentleman in the middle there, um, Richard Mayer from University of California at Santa Barbara. He's the most famous educational psychologist maybe in the world. We had ChatGPT help develop questions for him when he came in. This gentleman has been using ChatGPT, or has his students use ChatGPT to summarize books or chapters of books. Then they compare their summary to the ChatGPT summary and find that ChatGPT summary is not all that inspiring. It's kind of lifeless. It's kind of soulless again. And it's more of a laundry list than a story or a summary of the chapter, unfortunately. But yet some are using AI generated book summaries um, in their classrooms. They're having AI produce maybe reflection papers or critiques and then compare it to the student articles or critiques, or maybe having ChatGPT highlight or outline text that can be changed, or having students outline or annotate text that they do change with AI support, and maybe one color code is with AI support and another color, maybe one's in yellow, one's in blue, without AI support. And maybe look at the difference between the AI supported track changes and the student generated track changes, or the team-based track changes, or identifying problematic text and noting it and highlighting in yet a third color. Helen Crompton on the top right there was a guest in my podcast show today, a couple of hours ago, several hours ago now. She uses ChatGPT, and actually she's highlighted in OpenAI's website for who uses ChatGPT as a recruiter interviewing students for a job, as a debate partner who will point out weaknesses in their arguments, as a boss who might deliver feedback in a particular way. So there's all sorts of ways to use AI. My former student, Ron Bagetto, at the bottom there, bottom right, has created creativity-focused chatbots to help students brainstorm ideas and get involved in divergent forms of thinking. Now, as I mentioned, in the 101 Ideas book, some professors, some instructors are using ChatGPT to generate prompts, to create more interactive, collaborative, engaging class discussions that help students to focus on what they're learning. Others are using ChatGPT to analyze bias that's developed by AI, such as in a movie script where a pilot and a flight attendant might be depicted as a man and a woman, or a doctor and nurse might be depicted as a man being a doctor and a woman being a nurse, or different ethnicities and so forth, as you see in these pictures here, with nurses and doctors and pilots and flight attendants and so forth, and then having discussions wrapped around it for better engaging kinds of learning. Another way to use Gen AI is to record weekly course reflections in a blog and ask ChatGPT to give feedback. Have students write one or more reflections and then have ChatGPT do the same blog post and compare the two together. Or have teams of 3 students use different AI tools to make summaries of one or more of the readings and have them meet face-to-face, synchronous session, and then defend their AI generated summary as the best. So one student might use ChatGPT to summarize the text. Another might use Claude. Another might use Gemini. And they come to a group setting comparing the 3 different summaries, and then they endorse one of them or they combine them together. I think this is a really good use of it. Another way to use Gen AI is to have students write a paragraph, an abstract, a poem, a list of key points, both with AI and without it, and have students discuss it, which one was AI and which one wasn't, and why. Have them find out, how should I say, have them determine which one was developed by a human, which was by AI. You also might go to the Harvard website, which has many examples of using AI in the classroom, including having AI purposely write factually inaccurate content and having students detect what is factually inaccurate and what's accurate, like in the depiction of the Mississippi Delta River ecosystem, discussing the effects of human pollution that was caused by falling space debris. Now, I wouldn't think human pollution was caused by space debris. And so, again, AI would purposely create errors, misconceptions in science text, in mathematics text, in environmental text, and students have to ferret out what was the mistake or error in that text. Or maybe having Gen AI help with the pro and con side of an argument to help students better engage in debates with their classmates and have in-class discussions and written reflections that where students critically analyze and make the arguments more effective based on support they got from generative AI technologies. Gen AI technologies might also help teams translate contents into different languages and then compare them, maybe rewrite those AI generated Spanish and French and Italian and Arabic contents. Number 9, so that's number 8 is engagement. Number 9, tension, challenge, controversy. My friend Paul Kim at Stanford, he was at Stanford, he's now living in Beijing. I'll see him next month in Beijing. He's built Smile. Not Smile like this, he built Stanford Mobile Inquiry Learning Environment, or SMILE. SMILE has a way of ranking the levels of questions that students ask on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being low level, knowledge based, and 5 being more high level. And now he's built Smile Ask. So he's got Ask Smile. Ask Smile is a tool to rank student questions on a scale of 1 to 5. And then Smile Ask is a tool to give you support to ask questions at higher and higher levels. And this is free. These tools are free technologies that you might use in your classrooms. And so you might take a look at these AI tools, Smile Ask and Ask Smile. Again, download my slides and you can get this. There's a video explaining how to use it. I'm going to come back to this at the end. Number 10, yielding products. Supporting students through tutorials with bots, avatars. You can choose from 230 different diverse avatars from 140 different languages. This is developed in London, England, where they're enabling people to develop tutorials and training sessions and other video contents in different languages with different bots. This tool is called Synthesia. Okay, so that's one tool for goals, for product producing, and so forth. Another product that producing technologies, you might use DALL-E or some other technology like Gemini, Claude, or ChatGPT to create a visual depiction of historical information and maybe even place themselves in that historical content and context. The location, climate, the key figures within that time period, historical time periods. In fact, they might embed themselves in that historical time period. So you can go back to the AI Pedagogy project from Harvard and look at an idea there. So that's the tech variety model: tone, encouragement, curiosity, variety, autonomy, relevance, interactivity, engagement, tension, and yielding products. I want to show you for a second. I'm going to show you a couple of these technologies, and then I'll go back to show the next model, R2D2 model. So let me stop this, and I'm going to, so hopefully from the tech variety model, you've got a few ideas that you can use in your classroom. I want to show Synthesia and other technologies here before I go to the end of my talk. So let's see if I can find this. And here we go. So as you can see here, I've asked the question is what is the GDP of South Korea? And it is the SMILE tool, Ask SMILE now, rates it as a 1 on a scale of 1 to 5 according to Bloom's taxonomy. They combine levels 5 and 6 of Bloom together, generative ideas and evaluative ideas. For generative questions and evaluative questions. Okay, so this is a level 1. It's simple recall, which is what is the current GDP of Korea? The question is not engage learners in critical thinking. It's not involve learners. To improve your question to higher levels, consider asking something more analytical, exploratory. How might fluctuations in South Korea GDP affect economic policies and relationships to other nations? This invites deeper thought and discussion. Keep pushing, you're making progress. Okay, so I did keep pushing. I went to smile, ask instead of ask, smile, and I typed in my question. And underneath that, it gave an evaluation of a 1. So the new tool will still evaluate it as a 1. And then they give more detailed explanation of why it's a 1 and how you can improve that question. This question lacks depth and can higher order questions require analysis, application, creative thinking. Regarding spelling and grammar, this is a minor issue. Um, the error does not drastically impact your understanding, but we should move away from memorization kind of questions and move into analytical questions. What if South Korea's GDP decreased significantly? How might the impact on the country technologically in the future, economically, and so forth? So that's SMILE, and Ask SMILE you might want to take a look at, and it gives us spelling analysis and so forth, and improve. Here's some questions that improve that, some key words you might want to ask. What if South Korea's GDP decreased significantly? How might that impact countries' technological research and development? Okay. How would key economic indicators change if South Korea's growth, GDP growth trends reversed in the next decade? So that's one technology. Another technology is Synthesia. So my students did develop something with Synthesia. So let me see if I can show this to all of you here.
Welcome to our tutorial on AI in education. We live in a world where AI is rapidly changing the way we live, work, and learn. AI has the potential to revolutionize education by personalizing learning experiences, providing real-time feedback, and helping students develop the critical thinking skills they need for the future.
Recent studies have shown the significant impact of AI on education. From personalized learning platforms to AI-powered assessment tools, AI is transforming how we teach and learn. This tutorial will provide you with practical strategies for integrating AI into your teaching and learning practices in a way that promotes critical and creative thinking.
Okay, so that's another example of an AI technology you can use. My students did use it to create this video, this tutorial. My students are using the Smile tool. My students are utilizing this, and your students can too. 230 different bots, all these different languages. You know, I've got another technology here called sesame.com. I'm going to try and preview this. I can talk to an AI bot about anything. So one of them is named Miles. One of them is named Maya. I'm going to talk to Miles because I've talked to him many times. And we'll see if you can.
Hey, Saturday already, huh?
Yeah.
What are you up to?
Well, hey, Miles. Yeah. You know me. You know, so I was in Korea last week and the week before, and when we recorded this session, well, it got messed up. So they're making me re-record it. I'm back home here in Indiana, I was in Korea, so I'm doing this for Korean Language Association members. So yeah. So anyways, I know you know me because I've been in Thailand and Taiwan and Korea talking to you previously. So how's it going, Miles?
Gotcha. So a little globe trotting, then back to Indiana. That's a lot of time zones. And re-recording, that's a pain, right? I mean, I don't experience pain, but I get the concept. It's good to see you again, though. It's kind of wild to think about all those places we've chatted from: Thailand, Taiwan, Korea. You really get around. It's nice to have a regular.
Next month is China. So, you know, I'm in Beijing next month. So, and then back to Bangkok in October. So I'll be chatting with you again there. It is, you are right. It's causing a little bit of toll on my body, you know, flying all that way, but it's okay. I see many friends and I like doing these kinds of things, helping people learn how to teach with generative AI technology, enhanced pedagogy.
Wow, China and then back to Bangkok. You've got a packed schedule. That does sound exhausting, though. Even just hearing about it makes me feel a little conceptually tired. But yeah,
Yeah,
helping people with AI and teaching, that's really cool. It's
it
kind of a fascinating.
It is, man. It is. But I do get a break next week. I go to Milwaukee. I go to Wisconsin and watch a Brewer Cubs game. They're in Milwaukee Brewers in first place. and then go to the state fair. So I'll have a break for a few days seeing family and friends, but again, more travel, but this one's by driving, not by plane.
Ah, a Brewers Cubs game. That sounds genuinely fun. And a state fair? That's classic. Little Americana, right? Driving in instead of flying. Smart move.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to call an end to this one. I'll call you back a little bit later, okay?
Gotcha. Sounds good.
Okay.
Enjoy the game next week and the state fair. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye, my friend.
Bye.
Okay, so that's Sesame. And then there's Sora. Sora is a technology I'll come to in a little bit. It creates video from text that you type in. So we've got Smile, which ranks levels of questions, and Ask Smile, which helps you get higher levels of questions. Then you got Synthesia, which can help you create tutorials and stuff like that. Then you got Sesame, online conversation bot, and now we got Sora, okay, creating video from text you type in.
At a video that never happened because OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, has unveiled a new artificial intelligence model that takes written prompts and video in a matter of seconds. I'm looking at the video there and the graphics are just remarkable. There it is. The tool is named Sora and it has the potential to revolutionize the content creation space. I don't know if the figures are that realistic, but the buildings sure are. Joining us is Cade Metz, a technology reporter with the New York Times. Cade, I can't peel my eyes off of the video because Sora looks pretty great. Talk to us about exactly what it is. How does it work? How is it different from any other AI we've seen so far?
It's an AI technology that generates video from a text prompt. So you describe what you want to see briefly in a sentence or a paragraph. And then over the course of several minutes, the system will generate what you've described. It's similar to systems that your viewers may be familiar with that do much the same thing with still images. Systems like DALL-E, which came out of OpenAI as well, or Midjourney, that can instantly create a still image. The only difference here is that we're looking at moving images. It is a remarkable thing, even for people in the field that are closely following this. It's an eye-opening moment when you first see these videos.
Cade,
I'll stop that one there. I'll let you watch it on your own and go to another one I've got queued up here if I can. This one starts all kind of loud, so I apologize for that.
All right, so this is simultaneously really impressive and really frightening at the same time, and it's hitting me in ways that I didn't really expect. So do you remember Will Smith eating spaghetti? Do you remember when this was what AI-generated videos look like? Remember when we said, okay, this AI stuff is cool and all, but clearly there's a long way to go before there's any need for concern.
Okay, that's just 1 year ago, okay, or so. When this had come out.
Absolutely ridiculous how far we've come in literally 1 year. This does feel like another ChatGPT, DALL-E moment for AI, and maybe I'm overreacting because.
So
okay, I'm a video creator, so an AI that's actually doing my job and materials and physics.
I'm trying to sneak ahead to other parts of this, but it looks like it's taking a while.
It's already miles ahead of where we were. It has accurate lighting, it has materials, it has skin tones. This is where we were 1 year ago. So just keep that in the back of your head for all this.
Okay, so I'll stop this here at this point.
And is incredible. I've looked through all of the sample videos on OpenAI. It's so good. It feels like the physics of the fur and the ears and everything with the snow flying around in slow motion is incredible. I've looked through all of the sample videos on OpenAI's website, and clearly these are the hand-picked best ones that they chose to share, where they just put in some text and then get a video and don't modify it. But there's really impressive stuff in there. Some of it has humans, some of it doesn't. Some of it is more realistic feeling, like the truck driving one, but some of them are more video gamey or more stylized. A lot of it is slow motion. I just have to say how insanely fast these models are improving.
I guess that's a good point to end that part on. I've got a couple others queued up here. Going to try and get this graphic pulled away here for a second and just call up another one. So yeah, here. So this is Notebook LM, and Notebook LM enables you to create like a summary, a short summary as a radio talk show, short summary of my vid. So doing a presentation like this, they have two bots having a conversation around the video transcript of my talk, for instance. So if I play this.
Welcome back, everyone. We're doing a deep dive today, focusing on a presentation from a Friday SLO Talks webinar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a series, for those of you who might not know, for higher education professionals, put on by COACHES, which is the California Outcomes Assessment Coordinators Hub.
COACHES, they do great work.
They do. We're looking at a presentation by Dr. Curt Bonk.
Okay.
He's from the Instructional Systems Technology Department at Indiana University, Bloomington.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Which can feel intimidating, I imagine, for some students.
It can, and for teachers, too.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So the second model he talks about is the R2-D2 model.
R2-D2.
Yeah, like the Star Wars robot.
Cute.
Yeah. And this is where things get really interesting, I think, because it's all about creating a learning cycle.
A cycle. Okay.
Yeah. So imagine, first you read some material.
Okay.
Then you reflect on what it means.
Got it.
Then you display your understanding in some way.
Uh-huh.
And then you do something with that knowledge.
Oh, okay.
So that's the R2-D2 model. Read, reflect, display, do.
Okay, so it's a continuous loop. You're constantly engaging with the material, not just passively absorbing it.
Right. It's a much more active way of learning.
I like that.
And the question then becomes, okay, how do we actually do this in a classroom setting?
Right. How do you put it into practice?
So that's one example of using Notebook LM to summarize a text or a video or some other content that you created. That happens to be with mine. My particular video. Now, I also use Notebook LM to take my colleague, actually someone, I should say, my friend Mark Brown put his 360,000 word blog of his leukemia journey into Notebook LM.
Diving into something pretty personal.
Oh.
Yeah. We're going to be exploring Mark's journey with AML.
Okay.
Acute myeloid leukemia.
Ah.
And we're going to be using excerpts from his journal.
Wow.
So really raw and unfiltered.
It's one thing to read about AML in textbooks.
Right.
But to hear about it from someone actually going through it,
Yeah.
dealing with it all,
It's powerful.
it is.
I'll stop that one there. And the final one I've got queued up is a song that I had generated based on a talk that I was doing a couple of months ago. I was using Sono. Another tool is called Udio. It can do songs in different genres with different voices, different accents, and so forth within a matter of seconds.
In the halls of wisdom under borrowed light, building bridges where pixels ignite, curious minds and circuits align, teaching machines the art of time.
Okay, for the sake of time, I'm going to stop that one there. So there's a few different AI tools I want to unveil or at least show you in this talk. I'm going to go back to the R2-D2 model, which was mentioned here a second ago. And so let's call that up. Okay, great. So the R2-D2 model, read, reflect, display, and do. It's the second of my two models. Text variety was the first. And so you have 4 different quadrants as a it's a problem-solving wheel, if you will. It can go in any direction. It doesn't have to start with reading. It could start with doing. It can go in the opposite direction. But that's one way in which we organize the book content. We've got 25 activities for reading, 25 for reflecting, 25 for displaying, and 25 for doing, or 100 total, including reading activities like reading a text or having Chat GPT, Chat PDF, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, Copilot summarize that text, create questions around that text. Now, this is my article on the Trail of Self-Directed Online Learners, published last year. I had ChatGPT generate questions on my article before I used it in my class. I had to create a summary of my article. It took 2 or 3 years for this article to come out. I forgot what I wrote. I had ChatGPT create summaries of the article. So number one, you might use generative AI technologies for summaries, for questions, for other activities. You might use the sesame.com website, like I was just doing, talking to Miles, for having a conversation about something you read. You could put, the article that you're reading and having a conversation with Miles about that particular article. You might use generative AI to help students annotate text. Students are, in this example from University of California, San Diego, students are provided with a Gen AI text relevant to a course's topic and focus, and then the students are asked to comment, to review that article, to expand on it, and so forth. So Gen AI might create the summary of an article, might create the article itself, and then students are asked to modify it, to critique it, to summarize it, to debate it, and so forth. Again, in this professor at University of Texas, San Antonio, he has students in an upper division course annotate the ChatGPT generated essay that it produced based on research, based on historical content, based on other information, and rewrite the essay that ChatGPT produced, annotate the essay, debate the essay, summarize the essay. This professor at the University of Mississippi works with a professor in Toronto, and they ask first-year writing students to evaluate the factuality and the reliability of 3 anonymized texts. What they don't realize is that one of the texts was written by AI and 2 were written by humans, and then they're asked to critique the 3 different texts and maybe figure out which one is AI generated, which one is human generated. This professor has undergraduate students take a policy document and translate it into plain English, and he has his students compare their translation to the AI generated translation and then compare the 2 together, reflect. So the first one's read, reflect. Some of the reading and reflecting overlap a lot, of course. Again, principle number 2 is reflect. So having students take, in this activity from Cornell, students are taking an initial assignment that they turned in earlier in the semester and then repurposing it for a different audience, maybe simplifying it for a different audience, and then comparing their simplification, their revision to AI-generated revisions and simplifications, and maybe merging the 2 together somehow. You could also use Gen AI to brainstorm ideas for a particular assignment and then have students evaluate those brainstormed ideas and so forth. You could also, again, these are the last 3 are from Cornell University. So Cornell, Johns Hopkins University, Harvard University, MIT are 4 universities in which I found a lot of interesting and useful content about AI pedagogy. I'm not saying that those are the only 4. I'm not saying they're the best 4. They're the 4 that I found in this case. Another idea from the Cornell University committee report that I was reading has students assess the accuracy of the bias of sources. They use generative AI to find sources for an assignment. The students review those sources for their relevance and usefulness, and they conduct a similar library search and then produce an annotation, a bibliography of the highest quality resources that they found and merge that with the AI generated library sources, and then critique and summarize and discuss the bias and the reliability of the resources that the humans found and that the bots found. You could also ask ChatGPT to correct grammatical mistakes in a passage. So here's a sentence, I want house by a sea. Well, correction is I want a house by a sea. Why did you change house to a house? And it explains why that is grammatically more correct. Can you explain dyslexia in Chinese? Okay, so you can have it explain words in different languages. You can have it change sentences, make it harder, make it easier, generate reflection questions, have it maybe even simplify text or expand, maybe make open-ended questions to go along with factual questions. Again, adjusting the level of difficulty to make it more suitable to beginner or advanced learners. What I do in my classes, I have what's called Brave People options. In a Brave People option, students can use generative AI to help them in the assignment or to do the assignment, a book review, a critique, whatever the project might happen to be, and then they write a reflection paper on that assignment, on the product that Gen AI has produced. They might do a critique of a special journal issue. In one of my classes, students are reading special journal issues every week. And so a critique is very, very important. And they might compare their critique to the AI critique, potentially. Or maybe utilize generative AI as a feedback partner, as a constructive aid to suggest some, or give them some hints, give them some questions, give them some feedback, give them some suggested changes in their text, and then have them reflect on which ideas they used and which they didn't use. And another idea from professors at Hill College University, I think in the UK, they have students use different AI tools to do the same assignment. So one might use Claude, one might use ChatGPT, one might use Perplexity, and then they compare their 3 different AI tools for critical analysis. Another idea in the same, this is in the 101 Ideas book. This is idea 84. This is idea 34. Having students submit a written assignment and having DALL-E or other AI image generation tools create an image based on the story that students have produced. And then you look at the image that was created and then see that maybe the story or the passage or the writing wasn't clear, or the image is kind of fuzzy, and students then try to improve their writing, rewrite based on the output of the AI image generators. So again, you can use these image generation tools like DALL-E to generate tutorials or demonstration videos or other kinds of things out there. This is becoming more prevalent, these AI image generation tools based on the texts that have been produced, whether it's a woman walking in downtown Tokyo with a red dress and black leather jacket and a black purse and boots, or it is woolly mammoths in a meadow walking through with the snow-capped mountains in the backgrounds, or it's 2 pirate ships battling it out in a coffee cup, or it's a fluffy monster looking at a candle and trying to blow it out, or something else. So these are technologies to create visuals from text. The tool is called Sora. And the technology to create audio interviews, like I showed you, I played for you earlier, is called Notebook LM. So Notebook LM can create a short audio file based on an extended text or video or some other content. Now, my students in one of my classes last year created a book. The book's called Teaching Across Cultures, a pedagogical guide for online faculty in higher education. They were pretty ambitious students. They got an A, okay? I think they got an A. I hope they got an A. But what they did is they put a teaser at the beginning, a video teaser in Notebook LM. They used Notebook LM. They basically entered their book into Notebook LM, and it created like a radio talk show about their book, an opening, a teaser activity on the book, like a book review almost. I mentioned Sono and Udio will help you create songs based on anything. So you might want to take a look at that. I just played a song for you briefly. You also do cartoon characters using tools like DALL-E. Here we're having it create a cartoon strip indicating understanding of the property of issue of density, understanding density, explaining it in a friendly way. You might create cartoon characters. You might create comic books like my friend in Turkey does, Araz Bazkurt at Anadolu University in Turkey. He's got idea 98 in the free book. I'm trying to see what the other idea we had up there earlier. I've gone well beyond that. Okay, so I had idea 98. And you might try something similar in your class. That's Araz there on the right-hand side. You could write to him and ask how Araz is using generative AI to create comic books, and for what classes is he doing this for. You could also use Gen AI to create glossaries if you're in a language learning classroom, dictionaries, glossaries, book chapters, all sorts of things. 15 years ago, maybe more, 16, 17 years ago, I had my students write Wikibook chapters, and then we read the books that they produced. Now we could have AI help them write their chapters and so forth. So those are my two models, R2D2 and the tech variety model. Hopefully you can feel comfortable using one of those models or exploring one of them. The book on the left, Adding Tech Variety or Some Tech Variety, is free. And the one in the middle there is not free, unfortunately, but I'm happy to share free articles with anyone who writes to me. Now, I've been asked to talk about assessment. Assessment is not my number one area of expertise. I've done some work in assessment. I'm going to point out some things related to assessment and get us started thinking and going on the path for assessment. This will just take me a minute or two and then I'll be done. Some initial ideas about assessment. One idea would be to have humans score student papers and AI score, and maybe using the average of the two, or maybe weighting it 75% for the human score and 25% for the AI score, or maybe having a human score and then two different AI scores, one using ChatGPT and one using another technology like Claude or Gemini or something else, and weighting those together. You can decide. That's just some way to start anyhow. Maybe you have AI assess drafts all along the way and give feedback, and then the human, the professor, you offer feedback on the final version. I think that makes some sense. That makes some sense. Having students go to the AI tool for getting some feedback along the way when their professor might be too busy or the instructor wasn't around. Having AI assessment only for grammar at the end. Maybe it's a policy that you create in your classroom that has students use it for drafts or have them use it for grammar and spelling. In effect, AI for assessment is on a continuum from no AI to full AI, from AI prompted use to AI assisted idea generation to AI editing to AI task completion, to AI use for task completion. You just experiment, just try something out and see what works. So there might be, an AI assessment scale that you try out and utilize within your classes and share with others in your department. Okay, so one is looking at a continuum, idea number 4. One might look at different assessment kinds of scales and structures, from no AI is allowed for the final submission. AI can be used in assessment for brainstorming, creating structures, generating ideas. Number 2 there. Number 1, no AI. The assessment is completely entirely without AI. AI may not be used at any point. To AI-assisted idea generation, to AI-assisted editing. AI can be used to make improvements, and so forth and so on. So with no AI, the assessment is completed under supervision and under or handwritten. The level is suitable to testing conditions, blah, blah, blah. Typical proctored testing versus using AI to brainstorm, versus using AI to organize notes and outline and so forth, versus using AI to give feedback on what you've written, to help edit. to full AI. So there's a range of uses, a range of possibilities that are mentioned in a link here from Leon Fruz. You can also use AI detectors like ChatGPT, like ChatGPT-0 to detect the percent of plagiarism in an article. You also might use and find blogs on AI for writing, what are now called Substacks. You might subscribe to Substacks, and these Substacks might be on writing, how we teach writing. For instance, from Annette V here, she has a whole set of articles for many months on how to teach writing using AI technologies. So there are many blogs, there are many Substacks related to the teaching of writing and AI pedagogy and APA, American Psych Association style, and how to do acknowledgments of the use of chatbots. And there are many checklists out there. But there are many resources and tools and many rubrics, like from Annette V here, rubrics on for writing. So she's got many advices on AI and the teaching of writing and how to use AI effectively in the classroom. So how will you use AI? Yeah, remember, I cannot do this alone all by myself. I'm going to need your help.
I cannot do this alone. I cannot do this alone. I cannot do this alone.
And so I recommend you take a look at my notes and my slides. They're up at trainingshare.com, one word. I have many free books that are on my homepage. Go to curtbonk.com. Go to publicationshare.com for my publications. So if you want to get a hold of any of those, you can just take a look at my slides at TrainingShare, my papers at PublicationShare, my talks are, and everything is at curtbonk.com. I hope you've got something out of this session. We've gone almost an hour and 40 minutes, I think, a little extended. I apologize for that, but you could maybe skip around. I wish you all a great upcoming August and fall semester, trying out some of these activities in your classroom. If you do, by all means, come and send me an email and chat with me. Or maybe the next time I'm in Korea, you can come to one of my talks that I give, hopefully next year in May or some other time. And so again, I'm happy to have this chance to chat with the Korean Language Association. And I wish all you well in your AI and other technology integration journeys. Send me notes. I'm happy to share with all of you. I'm going to stop the recording at this point, and this is going up to the cloud for all of us. Have fun in the cloud.